Hi, everyone. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today for our regular 4 p.m. Pacific, a minute or two late, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern live show where we take your questions about U.S. immigration live law. General education questions not intended as individual legal guidance. But here we take your questions and kind of give you an understanding of what's going on in this wild immigration system that's confusing everybody. And there's a lot of unknowns right now happening. A lot of people are scared, and we're constantly getting questions about that. So we'll do our best to try to give an idea what's going on to the extent possible that we know. I try to stay up as much as possible on the situation, the immigration law, very active in the community. So we're here live on TikTok, on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I'm setting up systems right now, but thank you for joining us on LinkedIn. I forgot to add a title to what we're doing here, but hopefully people will get it. How do we do that and edit? I'm not sure. I'm doing it live. But I've said that, throw out your questions. If you're interested about a marriage green card case, download our guide first. That guide is the website. It's a free PDF. Go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Again, that's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And that's the place where you can get some really good guidance in our 50-plus page guide about U.S. immigration law cards, fiancé visas, marriage green cards. It helps out a lot of people. And then schedule a consultation with us. Once you read that, so you have understanding what's going on. To contact us, go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Again, that's jqqlaw.com/contact. Fill in that box there, explain your situation a little bit to see if it's something we even handle, and we'll follow up with you about the next steps from there. Again, we're live on Instagram and YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Feel free to shoot out your questions and we get started. We're starting to get people coming in right now, but I think the internet's getting some glitches as usual. It's slowing things down. But happy to take your questions. There's a lot going on. A lot of people are green card holders, are afraid to enter travel. There's a lot of people who have tourist visas, work visas, are afraid to come to the United States. And what can happen? For the vast majority of people, probably 99.9% of the people, everything's okay. But there's millions of people traveling. So even at 99.9%, there are thousands and thousands of people who could have problems. A lot of it has to do with issues with criminal history. Nowadays, it's a weird situation if you have support or shown support for Hamas or Hezbollah, these kind of countries who are fighting Israel, then they could get you. That's a new thing. That's unexpected, and it might be some free speech implications. There are some free speech implications, but that's problematic. But that's the situation we're seeing right now in this game. And then, they're doing interviews. They're hassling people that they didn't hassle in the past. A lot of it's unknown. Sometimes they'll just pick on one person because they know the news is going to take it and run with it. So just it's a one-off thing, but it scares the hell out of people. A lot of times we don't have all the information you need. There'll be things that seem really like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. But once you get the details, it's like, oh yeah, this is something they would always do because the news doesn't explain it well or people don't know all the facts and stuff like that. So for the most part, people are still okay, but it's still a troublesome situation with deporting people to El Salvador prisons without any due process, all that kind of stuff. They try to send people to Guantanamo. This is a very troubling aspect of what's going on right now. Believe it or not, my question is, if you have social and work permit, can you travel locally? Social and work permits. Typically, if you're in the United States, you can travel. There's some fear. Some immigration lawyers are saying don't do that. Depends on what your background status is. So it's not depending on work permit. There's people who have big issues and could get deported who still have work permits. It still works that way. So it really depends on your background and who you interact with. You could just be driving down the street and ICE could get you too. So it really depends on your personal background, your immigration status, how you enter, like what your background is, criminal history. There's a lot more than just having a work permit and social. It's about talking the safety of traveling locally. That's something you want to talk to the immigration about. Sometimes there's no real answer, just whatever level of risk you want to take on. Vero asks, for a legal resident with no criminal history, should we be concerned to travel abroad? Generally, no. The problem is that most people don't understand what immigration issues exist or they've done their application. So they'll think they haven't done anything. And on the face of it, most people say you haven't done anything. But then based on the way the rules are, there's a violation that you wouldn't expect. So I can't really answer that and say, okay, you're good or not without like going through all your I-485 that you submitted and know your visa history to see if there's any glitches or issues that existed. And at the same time, if they open your phone, you have no criminal history, but if they open your phone, there's a picture of you standing next to a marijuana leaf, they could say, or you're using drugs, for example. So it is a lot. Or, your name is caught up in some sort of thing that, or someone the same name as you has issues, and then they get you. So there's a lot going on there that we have to talk about individually, but for the most part, people don't have to worry about that. But that's general. It's such a generalized statement that's hard to give individual guidance on that. Alex says, is USCIS suspended all green cards based in all asylee? What about asylum came you legally? There are news reports that anyone who has asylum and is filing for a green card, they're going to pause the green card application and do more reviews. I haven't heard anything official from the government yet. Maybe it's out there. I haven't caught it, but that's the word on the street, if you will. That's the reporting. Patel asks, F3 file submitted documents when file open after submitted. So how many years can I file open? That doesn't make sense to me. Patel, you got to reword your question in a more coherent fashion. Patel says, hi, apply for a green card for my wife through an IR1. Okay, 90 days ago. Did immigration stop processing green cards? No. Lily asks, hi, John, are B2 visa refusals something that might be discussed on the interview for the marriage green card case? No, not really. It depends on what the refusal was. But if it's just like B2 refusal for, just a typical refusal they do, no. You got to mention it if you ever had a visa. There's a question on there. Have you ever had a visa denied? So on the 485 application, if you're doing adjustment, or even it has to be mentioned in the application, the DS260 of the I-485. But unless it typically won't. Lily says, also, the reason refusal was 1 day overstay, which turned out to be wrong, was just 90 days. So you have to just mention this stuff. So I have to see what's going on, Lillian, what was said in the application. But essentially, you have to mention these things. But it shouldn't be a problem. But like the thing is, if you overstayed 1 day and then you apply for another visa and then it mentioned the overstay, that could be considered misrepresentation or fraud. That means you lied on an application. Then there's domino effects that go down. So we got to see what was said in the application, what the truth of the matter was, what was communicated. So yeah, I haven't read your form, so I don't know what you said and said it historically. So that's why I can't give you an exact answer. Aaron, good to see you. Let's go back to TikTok. NATO says, what is petty offense exception for citizenship, please? The petty exception exception is if you have like a one-off crime that doesn't reach certain limits. I haven't dealt with this issue in a while, but it's like if you have like an arrest, but it was less than the conviction period was less than a year or something like that. I haven't had to deal with the petty offense exception in a long time, so I don't remember off the top of my head what it is, but what the exact like wording of it is. But it's like if you have if you were arrested and that was the charge something that would potentially have more than a year of conviction, okay, that's a problem. If it's less, then it's okay. Also, if you're convicted and you had jail time, did you have less than 6 months or more, or something like that? So we got to analyze the exact conviction record and that kind of record for the petty offense exception. Elika says, hi, John. My husband, okay, let me see if there's anything else with petty offense exception. There's a marijuana thing where it's like less than, but I'll leave it as that. I just don't deal with that often. Elika asks, hi, John. My husband, who I am married to for 3 months now, got his green card through work in July 2022. I myself became a citizen in 2021. I was wondering when he could apply for citizenship. Okay, so he could apply for citizenship either 5 years after he got his green card or 90 days to the 5 year mark, or 3 years or 90 days to the 3 year mark of when he married you and started living with you. At this point, probably it's faster just to get citizenship based on the 5 year method. So that's probably what's going to happen because they already had a green card for so many years. Talk Purple says, given the climate surrounding immigration, is it advisable to submit the I-130 for a combo for marriage green card with an attached addendum stating approval pending for the J-1 visa waiver, J-1 waiver? J-1 was submitted. So it doesn't matter about the surrounding immigration client. The rules are if you have a J-1 waiver case pending, you have to have the State Department approval in hand before you file for adjustment of status. So if you don't, you're going to get denied based on the rules. They might forget, not miss it. I've had officers not know what the rules are, but if the Department of State is approved with J-1, then you're okay. Now it depends on what kind of J-1. If you're a J-1 for a medical student or something like that, or you're doing the Conrad 30, I don't even know how that works. That's something else. But the typical J-1, you have to have the Department of State approval. So if you don't have that, has nothing to do with the administration, or so. I just have to have, you have to satisfy the regulations, the rules. Kazi says, if I have a defense asylum case in court, can I get a green card through marriage? It depends. You could potentially do that, but you first of all need to be married to a U.S. citizen, and then it depends on your matter of entry and your other background. So it's not impossible, Kusei, but it depends on what's going on. Marcos, hey buddy. Marco says, John is literally the best immigration lawyer. Thank you. He helped my wife who was a Venezuelan with the K-1 application. Now she has a permanent residency. We strongly recommend everyone schedule a consult. Thank you, Marcos. Really appreciate it. It's been a blessing getting to know you and your wife and your family through the process. HAI says, what questions will he ask in marriage interview? Will he ask about asylum? Probably historically not about asylum, but they may, who knows nowadays. But the questions, we have a practice question list, a couple of pages in our guide. Go to the website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Towards the end, there's an addendum with practice questions. Check that out. It's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Shuman says, does 90 days adjustment rule apply for spouses? Yes and no. I don't consider the 90 rule for adjustment of status, but at the same time, you never know if the officer has this made up as 90-day rule in their head. So you know, you got to do it accordingly. It's not something I could really get into detail here, but like something to be mindful of as a strategic way to avoid. Patel says, my dad sponsored me, but he is retired. He is self-employed. He's not working, just take profits. So you don't have a W-2. So can he sponsor me? For the affiliate support, he can. I mean, it depends on, we got to see how his income looks on his taxes. So he's taking profits on a consistent basis. He's going to have like a K1 or Schedule C or something like that on his taxes. We got to see what's going on there. And then the problem is, depends on the embassy if they like that or not. Sometimes they'll say, no, we don't accept that. So it's, I mean, technically it's probably likely, but we got to see what he says on his taxes. But it's also discretion too. Leah says, thank you so much for the information you provided, John. Appreciate it. God bless. Good evening. God bless you as well. I wish you the best in your application. Talk Purple said, or on his application. I'm sorry. My connection was lost. I don't remember your response. Can I resubmit my question? Sure. My question, Talk Purple, was that like it doesn't matter what the current is. Your situation has nothing to do with the administration. If you have a J1 waiver case pending, you need to have the Department of State approval for most types of J1s. There's some rare ones that are other situations, but for most of them, you have to have the Department of State approval before you file for adjustment of status. So you just got to satisfy the regulations as they are. It doesn't matter about the administration, stuff like that. Jackie says, how do I join the live? You already did. You're part of the live show. User says, safe for family to visit in spring. They are UK passport holders. Probably, but I don't know your family. If they have like, you know, they have arrest history, then no. Yazan says, are many mistakes on DS260s form a red flag? Even if you contact agency to change them? It depends on what they are. I mean, depends on what the mistake was. If you said your criminal history and you don't, then they're gonna say what's going on here. But if you just, I don't know, have a typo in your mom's name, that's not like the biggest deal. User 38 says, safe for family to answer that question. Believer says, okay, thank you. You're welcome. Gurpreet asks, is asylum green card travel to third country with home country passport? As an asylee, you shouldn't be using your home country passport. Historically, they don't enforce what the law was, which you shouldn't. But under this administration, I wouldn't do that. You can get a refugee travel document. Blossom says, just sent my I-751 application. Husband is currently stationed overseas. Will they expedite my case? So you should have just filed for citizenship. It's too late now. You filed for I-751. If the window for filing I-751 is not open yet and your spouse is stationed overseas, you could file for a citizenship immediately and get it in. But now it's too late. Now, if you're going to be with your husband, you could potentially file for your N400 case and get that expedited, and that could force the I-751 to move forward too. So there's a lot of technical stuff you got to do. It's not impossible. That's something you got to strategize and plan for. Hamid says, why the green card takes a long time to receive? It's just bureaucracy. Gurpreet, thank you for the badge. Yazan says, or answer your question. Amir says, hello, hi, good to see you. Amir, give a badge, thank you. Mark says, my CVIS status got terminated recently with no reason. What should I do? So we're getting a lot of leads or people reaching out to us who are student visa holders. So all of a sudden, their visa gets canceled and their CVIS records gets canceled. This is a new thing under Trump. They're probably targeting people that are Muslim for most likely. It's such a new thing. I have a couple of consultations this week, and these are the first I'm talking with. So I'm not sure there's anything you can do, but it's just a really new thing that's happening the way they're doing it. So I got to see what's going on with it. Amir, good to see you. Amir says, I'm an American citizen. My wife, she's in Pakistan. How long does the process take? It's going to take a couple years. Mark says, the schedule private, download our guide and schedule private consultation. The main problem is that the U.S. Embassy in Pakistan takes a long time to schedule an interview. And then once your interview is done, sometimes you get caught in administrative processing. So a spouse case could take between 2 to 4 years easily for a spouse of a Pakistani or a Pakistani spouse of a citizen. If you're married, green card holder is even longer. Christy says, hello, I'm a permanent resident with an old DWI misdemeanor happened 8 years ago. Can I travel? Well, first of all, you make sure the conviction record's done. You did whatever you need to do. It's not some warrant or something like that. Can he travel? Probably, but there's risk. I mean, it's discretion. They might make mistakes. I wouldn't travel internationally in particular. But, there's no direct reason. But, there's a lot of new things that are popping up that never existed before. And I haven't read your conviction record, so I can't really advise you. But it might be stuff that's like more than that. People will say one thing, and then we read the paperwork and it's something different. So I can't advise directly. Dylan says, can SIJ I-360 be terminated? I don't handle special juvenile SIJ cases, special immigrant juvenile cases, so I don't want to comment on that. Winnie says, hi there. I got my 10-year green card September. Congrats. Just 7 months ago, married base. Can I travel? Again, though, these questions are what you can do. Everyone who's asking questions about individuals. I don't know anything about you all, so I can't say whether you could do something. So it's illegal for me to give advice. It's dangerous. Because I don't know your whole case. Now, if you got a 10-year green card, you have a clean history, you never lied and stuff, that's fine. But people come to their consultations and they're like, oh, I have a clean case. It's an easy case. And then I ask them 2 questions and like, oops, I made a mistake on my foreign DS-160, on the I-751, on the I-485. I didn't mention something that's going to be misrepresentation or fraud, and that becomes problematic. So I can't take people's word at it. I have to like see the documents and analyze and interrogate them sometimes to get the answers. I can't really answer these questions about is it safe to travel. It's not possible to answer that here. Morales said, do you think green card asylum base will have a pause problem if it's not granted via court? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It may happen. What dates are USIS processing I-130s? Go check out their website for their current processing times. We're getting a lot of people asking the same question over again. Vincent says, hello, I'm in Africa. My spouse partner withdrew the application with USIS. Can I apply on my own? If you like are a victim of spousal abuse, potentially you can file an I-360 VAWA case. It depends on the facts. I-730 still processing. We rarely do I-730, so I don't have an answer for you of what's going on right now. There's no official word that's the problematic I know of, but it's not something we do on a regular basis. Silent Tier says, fiance visa from France, processing times, please. I don't want to get into processing times. 2 years, a year and a half, maybe to get a visa. I don't know. Dylan, I answer your questions. Is it good time to fill out G639 before filing IN400? I think by G639, you mean a FOIA request. Like, it depends on why you would need a G639. I mean, we don't use that. Nobody uses the form anymore. If you want to do go to type in FOIA USCIS, and there's an online page there that you fill out. So you don't need to fill out form G639 for a USCIS FOIA anymore. But whether you should do it, I don't know. Maybe you need it. I don't know anything about your background. Jack Sieb says, my mom was born and raised U.S. citizen in the 70s and had me out of wedlock. I'm over 30 years. She never reported my birth in Mexico to the U.S. consulate abroad. She didn't raise. What can I do? I have her school transcripts saying she was through school 3 school years. So I don't know. We have to show your mom lived here 5 years, to which after age of 15. It seems like she didn't raise you, maybe. I'm not sure if that's an issue now if we look at the regs, but you're not going to get a consular record of birth abroad. You're just going to apply for a passport based on parentage. But we got to see what's going on with the case. Chris Marwan, regular Garcia, says, hey, John, I want to ask, for an interpreter at I-130 for an interview, what requirements do they need? Not much. Just have a pulse and have an ID and speak both languages fluently. They'll need to sign off on an interpreter form there. That's about it. If someone has an order of deportation 7 years ago and now ICE detained, can they get out of bond? I don't do bond hearings and stuff in detained cases, so I don't have the answers for them. Sorry, it's contact attorney that does like rule of defense. Hannah says, when I got my green card, they didn't update the date that residence since based on asylum granted date. Okay. Usually they backdated 1 year. I'm not sure if they stopped doing that a couple months ago. We don't handle too many asylum cases here. Because says, so it can't be a family member, right? It's up to the officer's discretion whether they'll okay a family member or not. Typically, they'll let it slide, but they could say, no, we don't want a family member. So if you want to not run the risk of that, then bring a third party. What are they checking on social media for visa holders? For national security concerns and seeing if you like support terrorist organizations. They're designated, what they designate as terrorist organizations. Sumi says, I have a conditional green card, but my husband has not renewed my green card and divorce pending. We have a bunch of videos on this, Sumi, on YouTube. Just type in JQK law and I-751 divorce. We deal with this situation a lot. You got to get an immigration attorney, get one that knows what they're doing on these scenarios. But watch our videos first. Go to YouTube, just type that in. We have a lot of detailed videos on this. Dr. Deck says, what happens if we as a couple fail my interview? I'm not sure what kind of case you have, but if you fail, you get denied and potentially put in removal proceedings if you're in the U.S. Okay, I'm going to have to start muting people. 32 years of citizenship could be deported. I mean, if you lied in your citizenship application, yeah. Okay, let's see. I'm just muting people who are asking the same question a million times so I could actually follow what's going on. Bad etiquette to ask the same thing. You see I'm answering every question. You don't need to ask 50 times. So sorry, let me get rid of these because it's hard to figure out what's going on with the questions. Okay, I muted a bunch of people, so opened it up. What is the best way to have a boyfriend come from out of the USA? They could get a tourist visa. They might deny it if you're dating because of that, but that's the. Jackie says, "How long can that process take to prove my citizenship? Also, I have to give up Mexican citizenship. Mexico doesn't have a problem. In U.S., Mexico don't have a problem with dual citizenship, so no there. How long does it take? You got to get the paperwork together and schedule an interview at the embassy and go talk with them. It could be really fast." Talal says, "Can green card holders travel frequently now with no bad records?" Your interpretation with a bad record and mine might be different, but generally, yeah, it's like normal. Nothing's for the almost everybody. Nothing has changed. That's really it. But for some people, it's changed drastically. The problem is people don't know who the bad group are, who the good group are, because the laws are so ridiculous. All right, Sumi, I've answered your question already, buddy. I don't know why you keep posting. I'm going to start muting some more people. Okay. Shay says, my husband, the petitioner, has a Class C and D arrest, but nothing with minors or DV. I'm doing it. Typically, it doesn't matter, but you should have the records for that. AVH says, green card for 10 years, no criminal record, is a safe travel outside the U.S. For most people, yes, but I'm not sure if it is okay for you. Shay says, he is filing for my son in Jamaica too. Will that affect our processing? I don't know your case, Shay. I got to see what's going on. What dates are you seeing for I-130 approvals? It's all over the place, and it depends on what kind of I-130 you're talking about. Genuine says, if my asylum credible fear finding result is persecution, not torture, what does that mean? This is pretty much the same thing, but I don't do asylum case, so I'll leave it at that. Ben says, thanks, you're welcome. Omar says, 32 years. We already answered that question. 32 years with citizenship can't be deported because he's a Muslim. No, that did nothing that exists. Let me block some more people. Okay. Moose says, visa situation resolved. I had 2 I-130s, but they only moved the current case. So that's good. Shay, what if I overstay 2 years on a student visa before marrying? Will that affect my adjustment? Not if one is your school is legitimate. It will just get fake thing come to U.S. And secondly, if you're married to U.S. citizen. What's the timeline to get marriage basically on U.S.? If you're married to U.S. citizen, adjustment status, a clean case, 3 months to 2 years average. Nachi says, my I-129 got approved and sent to State Department since January 8th. I'm waiting what's next case in Iraq. You got to wait for you got to see what the embassy procedure is for Iraq in particular. I haven't done a fiancé visa in Iraq, but typically wait for the embassy to contact you, but they might have different procedures there. I don't know. You have to look up the embassy specific page. Tammy did biometrics December 2023. No work permit. Marriage based. Did 4 inquiries. What can I do? 2024. 2020. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not too much of an off timeline, so just wait probably. Because if you did your biometric 2023, you probably filed your case like summer 2023. It's been a year and a half-ish, almost 2 years. That's not too abnormal. Kidda says, is it safe to travel domestically? There's no one can provide safety. Is it safe to get on a plane to travel domestically? Put the immigration aside. Can I say it's safe to get on a plane? It generally is, but some planes crash. So it's maybe not for you. Talal says, I got a reentry permit. The time I spent before USA will be reset to 0, or can it be considered? It's going to be, it's not that it's reset with the reentry permit. It's just they look back for the last 5 years from citizenship. So if it falls outside, yes, and it gets lost. If not, then it's part of it. Chris Marr sounds good. And also, I was curious. I see everywhere that being paroled into the country by 212D5 is legal entry, but not admission. That's correct. If that's the case, why can people with 212D5 adjust in the United States? The INA 245, the statute for filing a green card in the United States, permits, one of the requirements is that you enter lawfully, and this could be admission or parole. So 212D5 is parole. So both are considered lawful entry for purposes of adjusting status in the U.S. You have other requirements you have to fulfill, but that's the specific answer to that very unique part. David MQ says, can I go home to my country with a conditional green card, which you my pending asylum case? Most people can. I can't advise individually. Nachi, I know it's in Baghdad in Iraq. I just don't know Baghdad's I-129F procedures. Each embassy, for some reason, has a different procedure for the K-1 visa, the fiancé visa. Another reason why I hate K-1 fiancé visas. And so we got to see how they do their processing there. I just haven't done a fiancé visa in Iraq, so I don't know if they have anything different. Rish, under Trump, considering the 90-day rule for marriage and filing, can a person with pending I-130 and I-45 get deported if married U.S. citizen? Can they get pended? Anyone get deported? But there's matter of what was it, Cabezos and stuff like that. So 90 rule when you're married to U.S. citizen doesn't apply, even though we go on online and a lot of people say it does. But the government could say it does, and then they fight you on it. Eventually, you cite matter of Cabezos. Is it Cabezos? And it's fine, but they could fight you on it and create havoc for you. So it's that. Chris Norton says, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, John. Direct as usual. God bless you. God bless you as well, brother. Thank you." And Martin asks, "Hi, does it affect an embassy to apply using a passport maiden name, but my work details update to married?" It doesn't matter. The problem is the embassy might issue a visa in your passport name, and so when you come to the United States, your green card is going to be in your passport name too. So you just have to update it. It comes a bit of a hassle because your names will be different. It doesn't. You just have to carry a marriage certificate and but it's just a hassle for you. But it doesn't matter too much. What is your cost for consultation? It depends on what the consultation is about, between $250 to $350, Christine. Go to our website, jqqlaw.com/consult, and fill in that out so you see what kind of case you have. Ashley J says, what are the predictions for the visa bulletin this April? I don't do predictions. I only talk based on the facts at hand. I'll leave the speculation about the future on other YouTube pages that get much more views than me by giving clickbait. But we try to avoid clickbait over here. All right, so that ends the show for today. Thank you everyone for joining. I'll get one more question on TikTok. That's a good, juicy question I can answer. A lot of generic stuff, so I can't answer that. Pending asylum. Okay. You're welcome, ML Martin. You're welcome, Ashley Jade. Okay, so USCIS is still issuing work permits on pending asylum applications. I don't know. I don't do asylum law. I don't do asylum cases. Let's see. Come on. One question that's I could answer full thing. How long is the processing time for green cards filed from my husband? I don't know. And then more of this kind of answer. So a lot of repeat questions that I've already answered. So that's it for today, everybody. I'm John Khosravi. I'll be back in next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you want to schedule a private consultation, go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Fill in that box over there. And download our guide if your fiance visa, marriage, green card case. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. The website is www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Download our guide, 50 plus pages, go through the whole process. Has a beautiful chart on the first page that really solves a lot of your problems for the most part. And then schedule a private consultation. We'll take it from there. Thanks for joining. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.